My name is Anne Sermons Gillis, and I am a member of Unity of Charleston. I would like for you to meet a member. Now, today is going to be special because this particular member is the president of the board of directors. Now, whether you already are going to Unity or you're considering being a member and coming to Unity, I think that you'll enjoy learning a little bit more about the passions and interests of our Unity ministers. So I'd like to welcome today the president of the board of Unity of Charleston, Nancy Baker. Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Anne. How are you?
Oh, we're doing good. It's a nice, beautiful
Good.
day here in the Charleston metropolitan area. Nancy, I know that you are the president of the board, and I'm wondering, what does the president of the board do?
Okay, the president of the board of the trustees for Unity is actually the operational group. We meet once a month. There's notes taken. There are 6 of us on the committee, and then a substitute. We talk about financials, any events that are being planned. I mean, really everything to do with the church. And of course, also because of the Montessori Learning Collective, the Montessori School, that is also included in a lot of our, discussions on the board. The board is, very, they're just very supportive of, all things Unity. And it's been a pleasure working with them, with the people on it. It's been different because the last pretty much 2.5 years has been with COVID. So there hasn't been quite as much activity around the church. And so it has been, I think, a little different, but it's a wonderful way to get to know people and get to know the workings of the church. And there are explicit bylaws on pretty much everything, how things work and how things should go. So it was, I got a hold of those bylaws and read them, and everything is going okay.
Well, does the Montessori School, does they rent the space? Is that how?
Yes, the Montessori School rents the space, and yes.
Well, we just had a big celebration at Unity a couple of weeks ago. Can you tell us about that? What was that about?
That was the 39th anniversary of this particular church, of Unity Charleston. And it was a very nice service. Reverend Scotty spoke, Reverend Ed spoke, and James spoke. And it was very nice. And people brought food. It was really fun. 39. And 39 years. So.
Yeah, that's a long time. Well, we really appreciate everything that you do on the board.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you live in this area, but where were you born?
I was born in Chicago.
Oh, wow.
And I grew up there. Went to nursing school there, and graduated from DePaul in Chicago. Yeah.
Okay. And so
then I left, and I really hadn't been back until a few years ago. I went back when my parents were older. Yeah. And
so what brought you to Charleston?
I retired here, and I had been coming here when I lived in Charlotte on business.
Okay.
So I really did. I knew a little bit about the Low Country, and I always had, good experiences here, and it was beautiful. And so once my dad passed away, I decided I would retire in the South, because I don't like Chicago winters, and I came here.
Right. And what part of Charleston, what section do you live in now?
I live in West Ashley. I actually live really, very close to Unity, the church, probably about 3 miles away. Yeah.
Okay. So are you solo, or do you have, any special?
No, I'm solo. I never got married, and I don't have any children.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what was your career? What did you do for a career?
I'm a nurse, and for 45 years.
Wow.
And I had a lot of experiences, different specialty experiences within nursing. That is the nice thing about nursing. You're still a nurse. You could still work at the same place, but it's a whole new group of knowledge. You would switch specialties. But I did work for the United States Public Health Service in Santa Fe, New Mexico in the late 70s. And I worked with the American Indians, Native Americans, and that was like 3 years. And then I also worked at the Santa Fe Indian Hospital. And some of the other things I did, I worked during the AIDS epidemic. I was in Houston, Texas, and I worked with home infusion, which was really, there was just, it was really sort of a tragic time, that people, they were so sick and they needed just a lot of support. And I taught nursing school at Carolinas College of Health Sciences in Charlotte, North Carolina for a couple of years. And so I've had just a really wide range of experience.
You have. Well, how did you, during all this time, I guess somehow you started a spiritual search. How did that come about? What was that like?
I think it was more, I grew up as a Presbyterian in a big First Presbyterian church outside of Chicago. And, my parents were I wouldn't say very involved, but they were involved. I used to go to Young Life out in Colorado in the summers on camp, But, there was always something not lacking, but, the connection wasn't there in a lot of ways over the years. And actually, once I, started traveling and moved away from my home, my grow-up home, I pretty much stopped going to church. But I did start, when I was in Charlotte, I went to Woodlawn Unity, and it was just a really, welcoming place. They encouraged questions and, inspired people to, grow. And so that's where I think I pretty much started there. And the minister was a ex-Baptist minister. He was very dramatic and fun. And so I went there. I didn't get too involved because I was traveling for my job then. But yeah, so that's sort of how I started Unity. And then everywhere I moved after that, I went to Unity.
Well, how did you find it in the first place? Did a friend recommend
I
it?
think I was just looking for a church. I'd been to a number of churches in Charlotte, and I just ended up there one day. Yeah. So
Trying out a lot of them.
Yeah.
Well, through the spiritual search of yours, I'm sure you developed some kind of philosophy. What is your philosophy for life?
My philosophy of life. Okay. Well, I just think we should, just make this better, make this world a better place, and just, be positive. And I think a lot of Unity's principles, communicate that, and it's easy to work under those auspices. But there's all kinds of ways to do it. You can do art and love and service. And so I just think we need to, make this world, welcoming to everybody, and just, make it a better place.
Yeah, basically that's a purpose. To
Right.
make this world a better place. And if you live under the auspices of a grounding foundation like that, then I'm sure that the universe supplies many opportunities for us to be able to live that mission. That's a wonderful mission. I just wonder if you have any particular favorite books, spiritual books that you recommend. I know that there's many of them, and some people say it's just what they're reading now, but you have anything to give us on that?
Well, I really I have it by my bed. It's the little book of Mother Teresa. And it is just the sweetest book. It has little stories and some of her sayings. And, I don't really have any favorite books. To be quite honest, I like thrillers, psychological thrillers, and mysteries. So that's sort of what I lean to, especially like when I'm traveling and stuff. So, but there is this interesting book. I don't know if you've ever heard of her. Her name's Emma Donahue, and she wrote a book called Wonder. And it's a short book. It's like 300 pages. And it's sort of about how we can alter our reality, so we don't have to change our beliefs. And it is sort of a medical issue in this book. So I don't know, I just thought about that the other day, and I thought that is it's a wonderful book. And I did recommend it to some of my nurse friends. You don't have to be medical to read it, but it is the child in it is sick. So anyway, yeah.
And what was it? Who did you say?
It was called The Wonder. Oh, Emma Donahue. She's Irish.
Emma Donahue. That sounds interesting.
It's a very interesting book.
I can put it on the top of my pile of 20 books that I'm reading right now.
And I do start books and I don't finish them sometimes.
And, it's something like about 80% of the people only read 50% of the book, and it's the first 50%.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, we get what we want out of it and then kind of go to something else. Do you have any passions or hobbies?
Let's see, hobbies. I really was into photography a lot when I was younger, but I haven't been doing that too much. I love hiking. I love being outdoors. I have animals. I fostered three dogs during COVID, and they all got adopted. And I have a turtle who's 64 years old.
Wow.
She was my mother's, and when my mother passed, I took her, and now she's in the will. My niece and her husband are going to take her when I go. So, because I can live a long time, just sort of like a parrot. And let's see what else. I mean, yeah, I'm always sort of excited about really, anything going on. But as far as passions, my family is really important. I have a very small family. It's my sister and her 4 kids, and then my mother's brother's kids, 4 first cousins, and then my father's brother's kids, 2 first cousins. That's it. I mean, very small family compared to some of these families down here, right in the South.
This may be the most interesting fact I ever get out of any of these interviews, and that is that you have a 64-year-old turtle that's going to live a lot longer. That's wonderful. What's your turtle's name?
Mert. We thought she was a boy. We thought, well, I don't know why we really thought. My mother did. And then when I was in college, she laid an egg.
That was it. Oh my.
Wrote me a letter and said, well, I'm pretty sure Mert laid an egg. So really she should be Myrtle.
Myrtle.
I have a funny story. When I would take her to I used to take her to Unity up in Fox Valley in Batavia, Illinois. And some of the girls one time, they said, did you name your turtle after Myrtle Fillmore?
That's what I was thinking.
Well, I didn't know about Myrtle Fillmore when I named her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, do you participate in any kind of spiritual practices like meditation or?
I do. I go to the Indigo Sangha of Greater Charleston, and when it's in person, it takes place up in Somerville, South Carolina. It's a Thich Nhat Hanh. It's a Plum Village tradition. It's in the Plum Village tradition, and meets once a week. It's just a wonderful group of people. We do a lot of Dharma sharing. There's mindfulness trainings, and it's just been throughout it's been about 3 years I've been going, and throughout the COVID, it was on Zoom, of course, but it was just just such a support to troubled times, So I do like that. I also studied transcendental meditation in the late 60s, some of the first classes that were ever done in Chicago, Illinois. So, and I did do that for a while, but then I didn't. So.
But you do meditate. You do meditate now.
Oh yeah, I meditate every day, and then and really transcendental meditation is really a wonderful technique. It really is. Yeah.
Right. Well, do you find any kind of unity, any kind of conflict with any other spiritual practice, or is it an open end?
I don't. No, I don't. I haven't found anything that, conflicts.
We do meditate at Unity quite a bit.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And silent meditation. And so it supports that.
Yes.
Well, I just wonder, in closing, if you have any last words or advice or thoughts that you might end with.
Well, I just think that Unity Church in Charleston is just a very welcoming community. And if you have any, ideas about, you're looking for some inspiration, for spiritual growth that, somebody would try and, attend and see if they like it, because there's a lot of good people there, and it's very, very welcoming.
I second that. Well, Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today. You have a great day.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.